Hello.
Hello.
Good
What's up,
morning, good
Grace?
afternoon.
Good
Not much. It's a
afternoon.
sunny day, finally. Finally sun in the Bay Area or in SF at
Nice.
least. I feel like everywhere else it's been sunny, but yeah, how's it going, Jack?
I'm good. It's a cloudy day here in New York City, Brooklyn, baby. Coming to you live from across the country as per usual. Um,
Yes,
but
amazing.
yeah, feeling good. Just feeling excited to talk to you today, Grace, about
I
threads
know.
and talk about our thoughts. And this is something we brought up a little bit last week, but now we can like dive in now that we've had a little more time
Yeah.
to be on threads. And I feel like a little bit the initial hype is a little lower than it was. Now we can look at threads from a more static, I don't know, level-headed point of view.
Yeah.
So yeah, excited to talk to you about that today.
Yeah. Curious too if people want to say something in the comments. How are you on Threads yet? I'd love to just see if people are using it or people just like, nah, this is silly. Like I'm not signing up for another thing.
Yeah.
Jack, are you on Threads?
I am, yes, kind of, for not really my personal account, but for a project that I work on. I have a show that I run, and we do have a threads, and we try to post on it every day, if not more than once a day at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Asking questions, posting memes, just to see if
Yeah.
anything, if like, I don't know, being an early adopter gets anywhere. How about you?
Right, right. I am on Threads for just like my personal account. I just wanted to play around with it and see what people are talking about, what like is going on in that world. It's been interesting. I guess I don't know. I guess how has it been? Yeah, I haven't actively been posting. I've been more of a lurker, just like reading stuff and seeing what's going on. But how have you found it so far? Just like in terms of the vibes, but also
Yeah.
I guess like the posts that you guys have been making, are they like doing anything?
Yeah, I think I guess I'm initially impressed. Just that we could get on and immediately sort of have these conversations. Um, um, because it's through Meta, you have these built-in followers, you have these built-in followings. You already, as long as you connect to follow everyone that you follow on Instagram. And so, like, immediately you're sort of able to dive into conversations or post things that people interact with, which I think is pretty like impressive. It's not like you're starting from ground zero and posting into the abyss
Yeah.
and no one's ever responding or liking. um
Yeah, yeah.
so I think in some ways that's like encouraging to get people to continue posting, which I think is pretty smart. But yeah, right now it's not like, it doesn't feel like it's super different than like Twitter, which is what
Mm,
someone in the chat, the Creator Cafe, Laura K, is getting
lawyer
at.
K.
Oh, Laura, excuse me. Um, yeah, pretty much like, how is Threads different than Twitter, or are they basically the same? To me, it feels the same. It just kind of feels like not Twitter. Like, it's like
Yeah.
Twitter, but not Twitter. Like, I feel like there's a rallying cry right now, or like it's popular to like not want to be on Twitter right now just because of how hectic it's been uh
Yeah, yeah.
being a Twitter user the past year, I guess. And
Right.
so I think people like sort of want the same vibe of like the town square text post medium, but without the attachment of Twitter itself, now that it feels different.
Yeah. Also will say, I think in terms of just the platform and how you use it, it feels pretty similar, like the text posting with attachments, maybe if you want them. But I do think a big difference with Threads, especially if you're not starting a Threads or Instagram account from scratch, is this idea that you have existing followers and people
Yeah.
you follow. And so if you're starting to post content for your account or your brand, I would definitely keep that in mind of like, it's not a brand new account. Like some people might want a brand new from scratch, like, oh, I can do whatever I want here. But if you have existing followers, I think they're going to expect similar content as you post on Instagram. So I would just like be really aware of that. I think another difference with Threads so far to me in terms of like the vibe and just like who's on it is because I'm starting from a lot of accounts that I follow on Instagram, it feels like so many brands posting, which is I really support the idea of just like trying it out, like posting some stuff. But I feel like 90% of the posts I see are from brand accounts. So I don't know. I think that's like a little bit different from Twitter, where a lot of maybe it's just like the people I follow too. But I feel like on Twitter, there's a lot more like individuals, even if they're representing a brand or like they work for the company, they're kind of on behalf of the company. It's not like the company account that's posting nonstop. So yeah, that's another interesting part of it to me.
Yeah, I think it's like, I don't know if we have any social media managers in the chat or people who work on content. Like, I think a lot of companies immediately when something happens like this, like, you know, their boss might be like, we got to get on Threads and we got to like post everything and make sure we're posting 5 times a day and like whatever. And like there's that knee-jerk reaction to like get on the new platform right away. And like, as someone who's employed to do that, you're probably feeling more inclined to do that than the average individual, right? Like, so I think you're probably right. Yeah, I think you're probably right.
I think another,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say another thought is like how, and I kind of want to hear from your perspective because you're running like a brand on Instagram and Threads. I think, there's a question of like, how is Threads different from Twitter? But I think there's also a question now of like, how is Threads different from Instagram? Because if you have very similar audiences or the exact same people on these two different platforms that are consuming your content, obviously Threads is more text-based, but you can put text in an Instagram caption too. And I could definitely see people just posting the exact same thing on these two different platforms. So I'm kind of curious, Jack, like from your experience, what's like the strategy that goes into, do I post this on Instagram versus do I post it on Threads?
You know, I think actually in my head there is a big difference, and that is that given that Threads is innately a text-based medium, people are more likely to respond to things and create conversations, where I don't feel like that's the case on Instagram. So on Threads, you might ask a question and people probably, in my opinion, just based on anecdotal evidence, are like more likely to chime in, respond to what you're saying, than just like and consume and move on. I think Threads and Twitter, just by nature, feels like a more interactive space. And so I think things that work on Threads, just that I'm seeing right now, and this is the case on like a lot of text-based mediums like Twitter and like LinkedIn as well, but like, I don't know, like giving a CTA in your post, like a call to action that gets people to respond. So that means ending your post in a caption, or not in a caption, in a question, and giving people the chance to respond, or like giving a take on something and allowing people to give them space to disagree or agree with part of it and not other parts of it. Where I feel like Instagram is more about like getting information to people, not about like a information back and forth. I don't know. That feels like a difference to me.
Right.
Agree, but...
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. I mean, I think that's what people like Twitter for to begin with, is this, it's more of a discussion based place versus Instagram's photos. I guess Facebook kind of was kind of discussion, but they've obviously like leaned very far away from that with all the short form video and all these things over the years. So I don't know. Yeah, I think there is a place for Threads in social media, in the social media realm, but I don't know if there's space for both Twitter and Threads. I don't know what you think of that.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Ultimately, I don't think most people will be using both. You know, there might be space in my head in terms of like okay, maybe half of people will still stay loyal to Twitter and half of people will use Threads, and like that's a way they can like both remain. But I don't think anyone's using both at the same time, or won't be for long. I think right now maybe people are because Threads is new, and maybe you're, loyal to Twitter, but then eventually you might switch over, or you've been done with Twitter the whole time, or like this is the last straw. Now that they've put like limits on how many tweets you can see as a free account, and
that's so wild.
And like that gives Threads the edge. So I think, I don't know that it'll be like one will win, but I feel like people will only use one or the other.
I think it's just like with Twitter, firstly, to use all the features you have to pay, right? Threads is free, at least for now. So that's already a big difference. And I think that feature of Twitter being like kind of gearing itself towards paid subscribers now has really changed the platform. Like everyone in the comments is a subscriber, it's like just to get your voice anywhere near the top or get your voice heard at all, you have to kind of be a Twitter Blue subscriber. And that's just, I don't know, I'm not really interested in that kind of like place, So I think I really think like having Threads be connected to Instagram was a huge, that was a great move because, people don't want to have to start from scratch. I think maybe in some very exclusive cases, you might want to like switch your brand and switch your whole persona or something on a social media platform. But most people are getting really tired of like going platform to platform, just trying to like keep their followers or keep their audience. It's like so much work. So I think, I don't know, I guess with Threads, I'm also like this, it's all owned by Meta, which also feels not great. Like for all these huge social media platforms to be owned by one company feels like creators are even more at the disposal of those people, which is a little bit scary in itself. But yeah, I don't know. I think Threads has a shot ultimately at replacing Twitter. But
I definitely think so too. I think that's a really interesting point you bring up though, of like, is Threads being owned by Meta like an issue? And I think like a year ago I would have said yes, but it feels like somehow people don't care like right now. Like like people like, I feel like look down on Facebook. People have been hating on Instagram more recently. But like, I'm not really seeing anything on Threads about people being upset by that, which I'm surprised about a little bit. Or feeling like people think it's like chuggy, that saying, like it's not like chuggy or like cringe, because I feel like a lot of people do feel that like Meta products are like old and cringe and like no longer the cutting edge. But like it doesn't feel that way this time. And it's weird and interesting that I feel like people are not caring about that. And they're not like also not worrying about, I feel like, like the, privacy issues of Meta in the past or things like that. In my
Although
opinion,
I wonder
like
if they don't
gotten
care.
away with it.
I feel like it's almost too early though. I think like it's only been 1 or 2 weeks, right? So I think it's like before anyone bashes it, they have to understand it or just like see what it is. I think also like maybe people are just so scared that this is going to be a platform that does take off, and they, it's not the same as like a brand new social media platform that no one's ever heard of, and you could be the first mover to like using that platform. It's a product that is made by a huge company that already dominates social media. So you kind of have to care, if that is part of your business, is being on social media. So I feel like people don't want to like start saying it's not good too soon. And also I feel like people have started kind of complaining about it already. But maybe the vast majority of people are just like, care about their business, their brand. And this is a really key way that they can just reach more people without as much work. It's like they don't have to sustain 10 different platforms. And it's like by being part of the Facebook and Instagram realm, I think there are benefits there in the long run.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Can you post like to Instagram, Facebook, and Threads all in one go, or is that not a feature yet? Because I feel like they would definitely add that at some point.
I'm not sure. Couldn't tell
Yeah,
you.
because I feel like I know
Um,
you can post to Facebook and Instagram at the same time, you know, and like
yeah.
I think that just being efficient with posting is such a huge time saver for people.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that's a
Yeah.
key part. I also do think like part of this is just people hate Twitter so much right now, and it's just
Yeah.
become like it's just evolving into like how can I even use this for fun type
Right.
platform. So
Um, yeah. I like this comment as well from Lawyer. Okay. Um,
yeah, true.
yeah. Facebook made a great choice changing to Meta and then having various Meta properties. So like Facebook is still chuggy, but Instagram and Threads are different. Yeah, it's really interesting that like one company can have different feel and different vibes. And
Mm,
then even
mm-hmm,
beyond that,
mm-hmm.
like under that realm is still Oculus, which like isn't chuggy, but like isn't like is supposed to feel innovative, but like yet somehow doesn't.
Yeah.
Like there's like so many
It's like,
different
okay.
vibes and feelings under Meta products. It's really interesting. Um,
Also, WhatsApp is just like kind of
oh
in there.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. They have so much. Um,
Right, which is like,
yeah,
I think most people, it's like you can logically know Meta owns all these different companies, but also when you're using they're just such different products to some extent as well that it doesn't feel like it's owned by one umbrella company. So I don't know. I feel like I think the more you start to realize all these different things are owned by Meta, that's when you're like, oh, maybe that's an issue, but like not sure how right now. I don't know. I
yeah,
think people might start talking about it more if Threads becomes actually like a big platform that people are using.
yeah. Something I think you were getting at too, though, which is like, okay, people are not happy with Twitter right now, and that's why
Yeah.
maybe Threads is having this like pretty immediate success. I feel like it seems like a lot of people have at
Hmm.
least tried it out or gotten on it, but like,
Yeah.
is Threads just being not Twitter like enough? Like, I think that's a
Mm,
question that is enough to get people started and get on it because it's like, okay,
yeah.
it's a replacement, but like, do they need to innovate and add different, I don't know, just like a different tools in the product or something that make it like a more unique system? Or do you think like just being kind of a Twitter clone is enough? And like maybe it is.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know.
definitely an interesting question. I think it's easy to get caught up right now and be like, wow, everyone cares about threads, everyone's on threads, but it's been 2 weeks. We'll see, you know, this is the every hype train is always starts like this, where it's like everyone cares about it. NFTs, you know, in the
Yeah.
past. I think specifically in like the social media product space, this is exactly what kind of happened with Google Plus, if anyone remembers that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but
Yeah.
basically, like, I think Google Plus came out of this idea that, like, oh my God, Facebook is huge, and Google wanted to make their own version. So that became Google Plus. And I think it was kind of hyped up at the start because it's like, oh shoot, new platform. Like, what is this? Let's get on it. Let's see how it works. But I think I was reading something about like the employees or people at the company that were in charge, and they kind of just like the main thing that Google Plus was is that it wasn't Facebook, and they didn't
Yeah.
have a clear vision for what its purpose was, what like value it was providing. And you know, eventually they sunsetted the product. It no longer exists now. Um,
Yeah.
so I think definitely it could sustain. I think not Twitter can sustain a platform like Threads for a while, maybe even like years, especially if it's powered by like so much, you know, cash at Meta. But I think
Yeah.
eventually like that, like Google Plus was around for a while too. It wasn't just like, oh, like
Yeah.
3 months and it was over. I think that's like a huge risk for a product, especially yeah, if you
Yeah.
know, it's so much of social media platforms too are like swayed by the content and the people on it. And I think if you don't have a clear vision for what you're trying to encourage or discourage, then it's just going to become whatever it is, and people might lose interest over time.
Yeah. I remember it does feel similar to me, but it also does feel really different to me than Google Plus. I'm remembering
Hmm.
like um I don't know, it's similar in the way that like it's innately connected into a product we already use. Like Google Plus was like intertwined deeply with YouTube from the start. But I
Yeah.
think the difference is that like when Google Plus did that, content creators on YouTube were actually like pissed. I don't know if you remember that.
Mm,
But I remember, I think it was because there was like username changes and things like that. Like they made people change
interesting.
their usernames and stuff.
Oh, that
And
seems silly.
then there was like a bunch, like the whole YouTube community like hated the idea of Google Plus. I remember videos coming out of like big YouTubers who were like making like songs. Like this musician made a song that was like called "Fu Google Plus," and it was just like a rant. And then, but like with Threads, it feels like it's intertwined, but instead of being like the enemy of the people, it's actually like the safe haven where people like where like Twitter
Mm,
refugees who already hate that
that's
platform
true.
have a place to go. And so in some
That's
ways I feel like it feels different. um
hmm.
yeah, I don't know, we'll
Okay,
see though.
okay, that's fair. That's fair. I can see that. I think yeah, it's different context of like just creating a clone just to have one versus creating one at a time when people are very angry with the kind
Yeah,
of like the person that has
competitor.
the advantage. Yeah, the competitor. Oh, interesting. Clubhouse, like, Lawyer K referenced Clubhouse. I think that Clubhouse is a little bit different though, because Clubhouse was the first mover. Clubhouse, like they kind of created this idea of social audio and then everyone else copied them. So I guess you could say like yeah, like all the other platforms that copied them then made Clubhouse irrelevant. So, but I
Yeah,
think in terms of like Threads making Twitter irrelevant, Twitter is such a big platform already. It might be a little harder than like a new startup like Clubhouse was. But yeah,
yeah,
these are interesting examples for sure.
yeah. I mean, Twitter definitely like kicked Clubhouse to the curb with like Twitter Spaces, I feel.
Yeah,
Um, and
right.
so like they're no stranger to copying other products. So it's interesting to me that like they're so upset. I mean, obviously they're gonna be upset, but yeah, they're like Elon Musk is like freaking out and like sending cease and desists to Meta and threatening to
Yeah,
sue Meta. And it's like,
yeah,
okay, but like it's not like you guys have never copied another
yeah.
platform before. Um,
That's so true. I also wonder
um,
like how Blue Sky plays into this whole conversation because there was a lot of hype when Blue Sky came out, but it almost did take that Clubhouse route of being invite only. Only a
yeah,
few. There's like maybe less than 100,000 people initially in the beta, which is kind of small for like a huge social media platform that they want it to be. So I don't know. I feel like people are not. Yeah, definitely people are jumping on the Threads train more than they're talking about Blue Sky now. So I'm kind of curious to
yeah,
see like what happens with that because also Blue Sky did kind of come out of Twitter, and they
yeah,
came first
definitely.
before Threads. So
Yeah, no,
yeah, we'll have to
I
see.
think Blue Sky's done. I think it's over. Is my hot, maybe not so hot take. I don't know, but I
Wait,
just don't
really?
think
Like you think it's just gone?
I don't think it'll ever be
Like
as big as it was. Like I think we've reached its peak
interesting.
already. I think
Wow,
they blew it.
interesting.
They blew it. It should not be
Why?
invite only for that long.
Hmm.
Like you need mass adoption
Hmm.
straight away, and that's why Threads was so good. It was like everyone has access to this so soon. Um, and you can create that like community quickly. And it also
Hmm.
reminds me
Hmm.
of like Mastodon. Like Mastodon, I think it's peaked too. Like all these smaller Twitter competitors that were invite only or too complicated for the average user to figure out.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
I don't know. There's and
That's
also
fair.
like there's the decentralized aspect of it, which I guess like a lot of people
Yeah.
are interested in, but like not everyone's interested in that. Some people just prefer. Most people probably just prefer it to be easy to use, and they don't care if it's
Right.
centralized. Um,
That's true.
and so I think that's where Threads wins. It's like easy to
Hmm.
use. You immediately know how to use it, and you can use
Yeah.
it from day one. You know.
No, that's true. I do agree. I think Blue Sky took this very technical route that is appealing to people who are technologists and, like software engineers or just people who really care about like the decentralization and how that technically works. Um, I remember trying to explain Bluesky to people, and it was always like a little bit complicated because it was like, oh, it's this decentralized thing, but also it's just like a Twitter competitor, and people wouldn't get it. And yeah, by being invite only, you're obviously, excluding a huge portion of people. I don't agree that it won't have its time. Like I think there's a chance that it still could come back and like be a big thing with if they open it up. I think these platforms, like when they start out, it's always hype because people are, have FOMO essentially. They're scared to like miss the train on a big social media platform that they need to be investing in. But I do think the hype ends at some point, and then you're left with, okay, like what platforms have my audience on them, and what are people talking about on the platform? So I think that's like, we'll see. I think that takes a while to really assess. So
yeah,
not
Is
gonna.
this live?
I do think Threads is.
Yes, it's live.
This is live. Hello. But yeah, I think we'll have to see. I would put my money on Threads though, if I had to choose, like if someone is gonna come out of this as the winner.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think they stand a good chance.
Yeah.
Cool.
Especially if they integrate more with Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
But
they need to make a desktop version. Right now it's mobile only.
Oh my God, yeah. True. Yes.
Anyway. Cool. Well, I think that about covers our conversation. I think try out Threads, see how it goes, see if you like it. Let us know. Grace, it's been a pleasure as always.
It's been real. Yes, definitely. Awesome.
All right.
See y'all later.
Later.
Bye.